Hi everyone, this is Leonora at Embodied Truth, and today I want to do a conversation about empathic awareness and how it relates to my own journey, and in support of some questions that have arisen from people who are doing healing work that I work with. So I hope this is of value. It should be of value to anyone, including not just healers. So, I'm just going to read some comments as I go from the person who's asking me the question. Perhaps it is more just about keeping exploring in practice and know that the discernment grows. This is absolutely fundamental. So as someone guiding someone, there are many, many things that influence the field of awareness. So this is a non-dual approach, meaning that if there's a relational dynamic between the guide and the guided, or the therapist and the client, that relational dynamic is informing the field of awareness. And so if the relational dynamic from the healer is, I need to heal the client, and if the relational dynamic of the client is, I want this outcome from this healer, then that structure or that view or that place of perception from both parties creates an entanglement, which creates a limit to being able to see the truth and to really meet what's in the field that's driving that. So what's driving that, from the healer's standpoint is likely to be, some sort of taking of responsibility and wanting to help. So a rescuer identity, for example. And also, wanting to maintain a relationship with their client that is supportive. And from the client's view, that their perception is, I've got a problem and I can't fix it, but this healer can fix it for me. Or something similar, there can be many elements to what's in that entanglement. So, understanding firstly that is there at play in the field is paramount. And so what can you do as the healer in that dynamic? So before I answer that, let me just carry on with the question. So my questioner says, for me currently, it seems very much related to my level of sovereignty, as in the days when I'm really connected to my body and my inner being and field, I can sense, for example, a friend coming into my field and discern what that person's feelings message is physically. If I'm not as connected and more just entangled in the head, then perhaps I interpret their message as my own thoughts, as well as how identified or attached I am to the contents. So this is what I'm saying. So you know as the one being the guide or the healer, whether you're in a sovereign connection or not, and you know that because that's your practice. And being a healer is a way of practicing. It's not that you are the healer. There's a field of awareness, let's call it God, or let's call it the infinite, or let's call it the absolute, that has the alchemical power to heal people. And whether people heal or not is nothing to do with the healer. It's more to do with them, their relationship with God, or their relationship with the field and their entanglements within it. So taking a position of I am a healer has a lot of entanglement with it that holds a lot of kind of rescuer responsibility kind of energy, and can create a lot of challenges to you as the healer, and also to the effectiveness of the work of healing with another. So firstly, the key thing is recognizing that healing happens alchemically, naturally, through grace, okay? Grace being a connection, a right-mindedness, an intent, a willingness to become new, an openness, availability, so on. And these things we can cultivate. So in a situation, there are levels and layers to fine-tuning your ability to support healing in others. And the fundamental direction of that work is to become just fully present without identity when you are engaging in guiding others. So when you're engaging in guiding others, the first thing is always love self first. What does that mean? What it means is that you are aware of what you're responsible for within the field. You are able to discern what's me, what's mine, and what's not mine. This is a practice, and there are levels and layers that you cycle through as you improve your ability to do that. So there isn't a method that you can, flip a switch and then you can do that. It's a process of your own journey of discovery as a healer. So our intention is just to hold presence for self first and then for another. And that is the primary piece of what's happening for you as a healer or guide when you're working with another person. That means that you're taking responsibility for your field. Yeah, and that's all you can do. But when you're engaged in this work, many healers have empathic awareness, and fine-tuning that empathic awareness is also necessary and is part of this process of discerning, what is influencing the field, and how do I know if that's my reaction to my client, or if that's their stuff or my reaction to it. Yeah. So the perceiver, the one who's looking, the identity of healer, the position that I'm perceiving from, these are all investigations and explorations that need to be done, both, independently of the client, but also ultimately while I'm with the client. My system is in that quest of resolving my own identities so that I can just be pure awareness in the presence of this client. And that's actually what's going to support the transformation of the client. Yeah. So in this question, when the question says, I can sense, for example, a friend coming into my field and discern what the person's feelings and message is physically. So if you believe what you're experiencing when another person comes into your field, and you're experiencing it as okay, I can sense that that's theirs, one cannot believe that straight away. You have to notice if there is an identity as healer or an identity that's entangled with that perception. So this is a whole investigation of a non-dual approach to noticing the relational dynamic between the perceiver within myself, where that perceiver is in a space-time location, where that perceiver is, and the experience that the perceiver's having. That without noticing and integrating perception, yeah, then we are always in a dualistic relationship with the client. So what we're doing here is integrating and unifying separation. That has to start with the person that is the healer. So it's like heal thyself, So my invitation in that is not to, be entangled, but to notice the sense of I and the identity and the perception and the observer fields within the field of awareness, so that you can integrate yourself and then just be present. Okay. So here's just a continuation of this question that I'm responding to. For example, if the client wants something from me, if I am less connected and perhaps identified with the helper, I might interpret the experience as they need my help and I should help them because that's what a good person does. So I'm just going to stop there. So there's many, many points, doorways to explore in that. The first one is how connected am I? So if I'm less connected, then become more connected. If I'm less connected, then the only task is to notice that I am and become more connected and remain in the adventure of discovery with the process of what is keeping me disconnected and what is it that I let go of or integrate to become fully connected. So if I notice that I'm disconnected and in order to become fully connected, I notice that I'm holding a position of I'm the healer, I'm the helper, then the power is in resolving that identity within yourself. You know, if you're attached to that identity, then you are entangled with your client and needing to fix them. And that's not loving, and it's not your business, and it's not your power to do so. It's a misuse of power. So, you know, then there's this, they need my help. So that's the entanglement. It's like they need, yeah. That's often when there's an identity of healer or rescuer identity, and we look out at the client and the client is like needy or they need help, then it's our reaction to our own neediness, which is projected onto the client and therefore entangled. I need to fix them. And what's not being dealt with is our own inner neediness. So, you know, if there's an identity, then we are projecting on the client. And the healer has to realize this. So realizing that is finding the identity that needs to help. And also there's, in this thing, it's just, that's what a good person does. So I'm also identified with being a good person. So you have to explore the identity of it's my responsibility and I need to be good. Yeah, it's like what is wanting to maintain that is there's a polarity in there for sure of I'm bad or I'm not good enough or there's guilt or there's something in behind that that needs exploration. So, you know, what I'm doing here is I'm not answering specifically the question. I'm inviting this person and other people who are in the healing paradigm to explore within themselves what's going on in the relationship within relativity of the dynamics between them and their clients. So it goes on here to say, if I'm more connected, I can discern that they are reaching out for help, and then I can, from a space of clarity, feel into it's appropriate in my heart truth to respond to their request. Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you are more connected, you have more information and you're more likely to work from grace. But again, the discernment has to come from integrating yourself first, because if you're not clear, you are possibly thinking that they need help and that you have to respond to them. So it can be quite tricky. If you're just in the head level with it, it's really tricky. Instead of being reactory and just thinking that it's my thoughts that want to help them because I feel they're suffering and I should help. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so there's a comment here just saying that noticing there are often entanglements in empathic psychic transfer of information communication and a mix-up of whose thoughts and feelings are whose. Yes, exactly. This is, as a healer, how do I disentangle from the dualistic relationship that I've created with my clients? Yeah, so it's recognizing this projection, reaction, entanglement, feedback, feed forward loop between me, the healer, and the client. Yeah, and it's bringing integrity and unity into myself as healer. So the healer is healing his or herself while engaged with the client and also while not engaged with the client, so that if healing is your path, that's how it becomes your path, is that you have to disentangle yourself from everyone else. And this is really important because many people who are healers have empathic awareness and high sensitivity. And often that empathic awareness and high sensitivity is entangled with their own trauma and their own hypervigilance. So they do have, you know, sensitivity to noticing a lot of things, but there's an inner quality of looking for, you know, of fear within you, or with, you know, that there's something dangerous that needs to be fixed, and that can easily be brought into the healer-client relationship. So this is quite a long discussion. I hope you have found it valuable. If you have any questions or comments, I would dearly love to hear them. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.